The second half about to get underway with Whitehaven leading 10 points to 6 after a flurry of scoring in the last 6 or 7 minutes of the first half. Gary Broadbent's got the headgear back on. Halifax trail by 4 as Duffy puts the ball right into the corner. A little bit of indecision between three there till Andy Kirk picks it up and was almost back over his own line there before he realised how much danger he was in. All the wind increases in the face of Halifax. Well, it certainly does from up here on the gantry as Halifax try to take the ball away, but there's a lot of pressure on from Whitehaven, who have managed to keep Halifax in their own 40 in 5 tackles. Penny takes the ball, not the best of passers, but manages to get the kick down where Broadbent stands and waits, and the bounce allows Halifax to move up and make the tackle on Broadbent. Fullback making only 6 or 7 metres. Right. Whitehaven pushing forward Mattinson, who's looked pretty impressive since he's replaced Aaron Smith. Liaffa pumping the legs back over the 40-metre line, and that was a yard forward given by the touch judge on this near side. There was no doubt about that. Ricky Wright running onto a yard forward pass, giving Halifax the possession. Damien Gibson being pushed into the loose forward position. Matthew Whittaker dropping out to the standoff role, but Miller and Broadbent making sure the progress is minimal. Adam Hayes put down couple of metres short of halfway and then losing the ball as he got up to play it. So trying to claim a bit of interference there from a Whitehaven player, I think. Losing the ball as he knocked it against a member of the opposing side. Duffy will feed the scrum on halfway. Rob Jackson will make 10 metres for Whitehaven up towards the 40-metre line. Mattinson feeds Wright, and Wright loses the ball this time. So possession given back to Halifax. Byron Smith in to Miller and Liaffa on the 40. Clough going from acting half, gets it away to Penny, who half escapes from Duffy, then he's put to ground as Elbeck adds his weight to that tackle. Jason Bolts into 2. Damien Ball back on for Byron Smith as Brambani feeds Whittaker. Great ball from Whittaker to Haley. Well, it's a shame the 2 passes in the first half weren't as good as that one. Had they been, Halifax would have had another 2 tries to their tally now, but it is they've only won. And they trail by 10-6. Good kick by Brambani as Penny clashes with Broadbent and comes off the worst by the look of it, just going out onto the wing to make sure he's okay as Halifax try to tighten the screw and put pressure on the Whitehaven defence. Derry Elbeck forced back towards the line, and Trindle won't be forced back. Huge frame of a man. Duffy trying to catch Halifax out wide as Leroy Joe puts it into Liaffa, and Liaffa has made the mistake under pressure from Haley and Ball. And the celebrations between that clutch of Halifax players shows just how much it means. As Halifax get possession back just outside the Whitehaven 20. And the first opportunity of the second half, close to the line. Penny puts the ball through, but Broadbent has managed to get his foot to it, and Elbeck's on a break down that far side, gives it inside to Maiden. And Halifax being made to pay, trying to show a bit of entrepreneurial flair, but it backfired as the ball came off Broadbent's leg, which meant play on. Duffett feeds it out wide, Broadbent takes it, Leroy Joe has support outside him but goes back towards the post. Thought about the pass, Haley managing to clamp the ball before it was given away. Liafa gets it away to Mattinson, and Mattinson pumping the legs, and it takes 3 to put him down. And the Halifax line under pressure. Leroy Joe gives it to Duffett. Duffett unable to push Jason Bolt's or John Clough's attempt to tackle away, but it's the last one. Leroy Joe slides the ball through again, but this time too strong, and the ball goes over the dead ball line again. And Andy Kirk trying to carve up the middle. He has done. He's got support inside from Marcus George, and Halifax will get the first try in the second half. Andy Kirk is left on the floor, but Marcus George over under the post. There's only Bramburney to join in the celebration, because half of the Halifax team are checking on the condition of Andy Kirk on that far side. Well, there's nothing seen by the officials, even though Kirk's still down on the ground, but Marcus George has levelled the scores for Halifax, and it so easily could have gone the other way. When Broadbent got his foot to Penny's little chip through, and Whitehaven went to threaten at the other end of the field, but Andy Kirk just firing his way through that Whitehaven defence. There was a tackler on him, he couldn't stop him. The touch judges just indicated perhaps an elbow was used on Andy Kirk, who's still receiving attention. So Bramburney to put Halifax back into the lead from in front of the post, and no problem for Bramburney with the conversion. Halifax back in the lead by 2 at 12 points to 10. Duffy with the ball along the floor into the corner again. Adam Hayes picks the ball up, turns his back to the defence, and is hit by 3. Haley looking for the way through, trying to help out the forwards. There's a mess about at the play the ball, referee waves play on. Clough will run at Leroy Joe, who's still retreating back onto the 10 metre line. Spencer Miller messes about with John Clough, and Damien Ball looks for a way through the middle. Halifax did have numbers on that far side, but Whitehaven have moved across now. Penny will get the ball back, will he, on the charge down? Well, he hasn't. He's went for it, he's gone for it and suffered for his troubles. Whitehaven have managed to scramble the possession as Liafa gets it away to Elbeck, and Elbeck is carried back to the 40 metre line by Wrench and Larder. More effort needed like that, but Trindle once again going forward. They'll not push him back so easily. Fatty Alofa the same, going forward and getting over the 20 metre line. Mattinson needs to be watched. And Mattison almost opening up the Halifax defence again. Last tackle, Leroy Joe stands and waits, fires the ball out wide. There's a scramble. Can Halifax keep the centre Jackson out? They've managed to do it somehow. There's a body on the floor. Jackson not willing to let go of the football. Brambini wanting the opportunity of a quick play. Not forthcoming. Andy Kirk's the last man that drags himself up off the floor. How's the derision coming from behind the post in the south stand? Halifax supporters seeing something. David Wrench being put under pressure by three as Halifax struggle to get out of the 20 metre area. Clough to Byron Smith. Smith away from the first tackle, trying to shrug defenders off. Fatty Alofa needed assistance from Mattinson, and Brambini says let's get out of here, pumps the ball down towards that Whitehaven line. Broadbent's about 5 metres away. There are blue and white shirts following it up, and Broadbent is stopped and pushed back a couple of metres by Larder and Blackwood on the back of a good kick from Brambini. The pressure relieved for the moment anyway, as Whitehaven prepared to bring on another big forward in Scott Tier. Halifax getting across to stop the run by Le Bon. Forward pass from Leroy Joe. There looked to be another one there. Howard Hill looked inside when there were men outside. Not happy at the attention from Adam Hayes. Trindle clattered to the ground. Last tackle signalled by Ian Smith as Duffy kicks over the top. Halifax need to react. Leroy Joe will throw himself at the ball. Well, he thought twice about it, but Gibson was forced to put it dead. So Leroy Joe won't mind too much, I don't think, about not making the attempt, because Whitehaven will get the ball back from the dropout under the post. Well, there's no rush from the Halifax side to get the dropout away. Finally, it's Brambini who gets the ball to bounce just on halfway. Trindle is the man that will return it for Whitehaven. Back to the 40 metre line.
Halifax substitution number 14, Dean Lawford, replacing number 7, Dominic Brambini.
Lawford on for Brambini. Well, he's had his critics this season as Lawford, but Halifax do seem to be that little bit better when he's about. Well, he needs to tackle, but he hasn't, and Halifax have been opened up by this Whitehaven defence again. Rob Jackson goes over for the try that puts Whitehaven back into the lead by 2. It's Halifax 12, Whitehaven 14, with the kick to come. Well, the second half certainly opening at a greater pace than the first half did. Defences were on top for a lot in the first half. And Duffy will try and increase that lead. Halifax had 2 in defence, unable to stop Jackson. Duffy failed with one of his 2 attempts in the first half. Might need to pull it round with a wind, although there's a wind up here on the gantry. There doesn't seem to be much movement in the flags on the field. And there was no movement of the ball there as Duffy successfully converts Jackson's try to make it Halifax 12, Whitehaven 16. Haley hoists the ball into the air, Broadbent underneath it, but the height of the ball has allowed the Halifax chasers up to make the tackle. just outside the 10-metre area. There was a shout for a knock on, but it came off the foot, says Ian Smith. Well, Jackson was able to continue. Fatty Alofa being used as a centre with good effect, making 10 metres. Scott Tia, another one of these huge Whitehaven forwards, being stopped by Smith. Duffy pumps the ball downfield and is just happy for the ball to stop short of the Halifax line. Marcus George almost around the outside, and Gibson will have no option but to go on his own. Might have caught a trailing arm there as he went down, Gibson, but Whitehaven will be quite happy now to put the ball down, make Halifax do the work away from their own line. David Wrench into 2. Spencer Miller making sure there's no option of a pass out the back. Clough using the short side. Adam Hayes almost got it away to Kirk, and there were chances there for Andy Kirk, but he just couldn't take the ball in. Halifax put themselves under pressure with a stray pass. Well, it's one of them things, I suppose. If it comes off, it's spectacular. If it doesn't, you've got to do the work to stop the opposition, and that is what Halifax will have to do now as Le Bon comes in off the wing, and he's put to ground by Gibson. And Larder, Scott Tier charging up into the defence. There's 4 men waiting for him, but only 3 needed to make the tackle. The touch judge is on from the far side, and with the referee looking at Halifax players, it looks like it will be a Whitehaven penalty. Anthony Blackwood is the man that's been pulled out by Ian Smith. A penalty that's within range for the facial by Blackwood, but Duffy has gone for the touchline instead. Warrington well aware that another try would make it a lot more difficult for Halifax, who trail by 4 at the moment. Scott Tier is finally put down, but not without a struggle. Mattinson feeds Fatty Alofa. He turns the ball back to Mattinson. Mattinson disappears under 3, 5 metres away from the Halifax line. Fatty Alofa, Duffy turns it back inside to Scott Tier. Whitehaven still 5 metres away and stacking men on this left hand side. That could spell trouble for Halifax as they push the ball out wide. Leroy Joe to Spencer Miller. Broadbent on hand, but Miller not able to get the pass away. Leroy Joe back to Duffy. Duffy's crossfield kick will put pressure on Marcus George. The ball has gone to ground and it's a Whitehaven try, and that is going to make Halifax's task that little more difficult. Whitehaven in the comfort zone with a 4th try, taking the lead to 8 points. And Steve Maiden, the try scorer.
Try scorer there for Whitehaven, number 5, Steve Maiden.
Marcus George made the challenge, couldn't take the ball in, got first touch on it I think, but it went backwards, and I think Maiden, by virtue of the fact that it was probably down on the ground sooner than Marcus George, was able to get to the ball quicker, and therefore score Whitehaven's 4th try, but crucially give them an 8-point lead. Duffy with the conversion, a couple of metres in from that far side, round about midway through the second half, and Duffy has failed to find the target yet again. Halifax have put Dean Lawford in to look for a little bit of inspiration, but they've yet to trouble that Whitehaven line. Pass from Adam Hayes, almost releasing Kirk down this side of the field, but it worked against them. Whitehaven took full advantage and also took the 8-point lead. Haley kicks the ball straight and direct at Leroy Joe, and Halifax could be caught out on that far side again. George just knocking Steve Maiden off balance, and Scott Tier having to reach for that one. Halifax still doing the very best in defence to push the man with the ball back towards his own line. Fatty Alofa. Tackle by 3 on the 40. Whitehaven have men again down this left hand side. Halifax needing to cover across. LeBon will have nowhere to go as Adam Hayes closes him down just short of halfway. Duffy once again will look to put Halifax back down towards their own line. Again, Whitehaven content to make Halifax do the work to try and get it away. Oh, Halifax in need of another try, but where it's going to come from for the moment, I'm not really sure, because Whitehaven is quite happy now to pen Halifax back. Blackwood trying to break through that Whitehaven line, makes it up to the 40. Dave Larder pumping the legs, making 8 to 9 metres. Byron Smith, pass missing out. Lawford. Halifax just inside the Whitehaven half, still a long way to go. Lawford gets the ball away to Adam Hayes. Hayes looking for support, couldn't get it away. Clough gets it back to Lawford. Lawford's kick straight down at Broadbent though. Easy for the Whitehaven fullback, stopping it with his feet, picks it up. Makes 10 metres into the bargain. Leroy Joe in at acting half. Elbeck trying to drive the ball away, but good tackling from Larder and Blackwood. David Wrench on Scott Tier. Fatty Alofa thought about the pass put down on the 40. Down this side, Mattinson steps through the first tackle. Lawford reels him in and puts him down on the last tackle, and has done a little bit of damage as well by the looks of it as Mattinson slow to his feet. Duffy again content just to put that ball down, so Marcus George is forced to run it away, and George fancies the outside. Can't get round Steve Maidens. Gibson dropping the shoulder, still struggling to get through. David Wrench gets it away to Clough. Now there may be a chance. Whittaker running round the outside, but Duffy drags him down on the 40. Haley gives it to Damien Ball, and Damien Ball loses control, puts it down. Halifax architects of their own downfall at the moment with a couple of crucial mistakes that have yet to get into gear really in this second half, apart from the try from Marcus George, which put Halifax back in the lead briefly. That really the only threat that Halifax have posed in this second half. And Duffy will feed the scrum again as time runs out for Halifax, with Jackson unable to get past Blackwood's tackle. Broadbent to Aaron Smith, who's been put back on. Smith and Mattinson both potential troublemakers as far as Halifax are concerned, both can do damage. Scott Tier surrounded by 3. Ball goes to ground, knock on says a referee, and Halifax will get the ball back. But we'll need something special in the last 15 minutes or so. Well, the Whitehaven game plan simple from now on. Halifax looking for a way to put an end to that by scoring points of their own, but Whitehaven not letting Halifax out of their own half of the field for what seems like an age now, as Byron Smith drives it forward. Clough to Renge. Renge gives it to Penny. Penny gets it away to Gibson. Gibson has support from Blackwood. He has to come inside and then run an angle across the face of the defence and gets to the Whitehaven 40. Lawford to Damien Ball. Back to Lawford. Good into players. Lawford looks for a way through. Gets it to Whittaker. Fires it across the field to Larder. But play breaking down as Larder's tackled by Scott Tier. Last tackle. Halifax still 35 metres away from the line. Penny puts one through off the outside of the boot. Again, the ball bouncing up easily for Gary Broadbent. He takes the tackle, but what have Halifax got to try and restrict Whitehaven's progress? Le Bon drifting in off the wing. Halifax trying to force Whitehaven down the middle of the field. Leroy Joe taking up an ominous position as people drag across to the left hand side. Leroy Joe gets it away and the ball played, and there'll be 6 more tackles for Whitehaven as Clough strips possession, but Whitehaven will still have 6 more as the ball goes back in their favour. Clough goes to try, did he try and strip the ball again? Well, the Whitehaven man, Rob Jackson, managing to hold him off. Byron Smith goes round the top of namesake Aaron Smith, and that the first penalty of the second half in Whitehaven's favour. Well, when the ball went to ground on 2 occasions there, it's the little things like that that you need to go for you to have a little bit of a chance. But even when Clough had stripped the ball, it still went back towards the Whitehaven line, and that will be another penalty against Whittaker for the high tackle, and Duffy will look at the 2 points this time perhaps. Well, no, once again they're going for the touch and trying to put the final nail in the Halifax coffin, and if they score now, there's no doubt it will be. The 8-point gap not insurmountable with the 10 minutes that's left, but anything worse is going to need a miracle for Halifax. Duffy thought about the kick, chases the defence, gets it away. Jackson looking for a second, but Lawford managing to bring the centre down. The pressure's not off yet for Halifax though, as Duffy runs towards the line, stopped by Haley and Ball. Mattinson to Leroy Joe, takes the return. Leroy Joe fires the pass out wide, and the ball, did it go forward? Maidens managed to keep hold of it and beat Marcus George. Gary Broadbent up into the line, the 2 metres away of Whitehaven. Referee Ian Smith signalling the last tackle. Whitehaven with the numbers again on this left hand side. Leroy Joe hanging deep at the back, gets it away to Duffy. Duffy to Jackson, and Jackson tries to get the ball away. There were screams of a forward pass, so for the moment Halifax still in it, but they need to do something they haven't done for the last 15 minutes or so, and that's getting to that Whitehaven half of the field, and of course they need to score. Blackwood gets over the 40. Good progress made by Halifax, and they finally get a penalty of their own in the second half. 6-5, the penalties in Whitehaven's favour, and Halifax needing something from this as Byron Smith runs into Leroy Joe, but he has Miller to stop him around the legs. Clough feeds Damien Ball, and Damien Ball almost slipping the first, thought about getting up and continuing, but played the ball as Clough gets it to Lawford. Lawford back to his captain Damien Ball. Halifax still looking for the key to unlock the Whitehaven defence. Whittaker, who's been so effective on occasions, wrench, upended and put down. Lawford out wide to Penny. Penny looking to upset his former employers. Blackwood brought down the closest Halifax have been for some time, but it's the last tackle. Penny puts the crossfield kick in. The race is on, and Haley, the first man to it, but just unable to keep hold of the ball. Whitehaven line remains intact as the clock ticks down on Halifax's attempt to get themselves into the playoffs. Howard Hill back on for Whitehaven. Duffy goes for the 40-20. There's nobody at home for Halifax, and that is an excellent kick from Duffy. Saw nobody there, and the kick downfield has turned Halifax round again, but Whitehaven will get possession. Poor second half. Yeah. They've just kicked ball down though. Eh? They've kicked ball down and make us play it back. Never know what to do. Duffy feeds Leaffer. Leaffer trying to step inside, stopped by Larder. Aaron Smith towards the line. Brought down 5 metres away. Mattinson to Duffy. Duffy looking for runners, gets the ball to Miller. Miller hauled down. Halifax still trying to stem the attack though, as Howard Hill takes the ball. It wasn't the best of passes, and Howard Hill almost reaching over the line there, but Halifax struggling as Aaron Smith puts the kick through. It bounces out of the hands of Joel Penny. Well, it's just Halifax just not getting the look of the bounce as it comes off Joel Penny. Halifax forced to defend again. And certainly into the last 6 or 7 minutes. Duffy takes a return pass, gets it away to LeBon, and LeBon is tackled by Kirk and Haley. Fatty Alofa charging towards the line, looking to get the ball free. The hand came out. Mattinson trying to pinch one from acting half, but Halifax still defending valiantly as Duffy gets the ball out to Broadbent. Broadbent using Howard Hill as Shepherd did it. Not according to Ian Smith. Duffy fires the ball out wide. It's a 2-on-1. And I can't believe that Derry Elbeck didn't get the ball out to Maidens. It's the last tackle of Halifax. Anything left? Leroy Joe puts the kick in, but it bounces off Damien Ball. Halifax will be defending. Again, another Whitehaven attack, as they seem to have been doing for large parts of this second half. Lawford's drop out. Howard Hill takes 5 metres inside his own half, and Halifax will be looking for a mistake. One last glimmer of hope. Mattinson trying to cut through the Halifax defence, brought down 21 metres away. Fatty Alofa goes from acting half, gives it to Howard Hill. Hill steps out of the tackle and then is driven into the ground by Gibson. Tremendous tackling, but how long can Halifax survive under this constant attack of Whitehaven pressure? Gibson gets Duffy, but Duffy gets the ball away. Broadbent almost cutting through the middle. Mattinson, ball in hand, quickly out to Duffy. Leroy Joe gets it away, and that will be the match for Whitehaven. Elbeck making amends for not giving the ball to Maiden earlier. Will score the try that will end any hope Halifax had in the remaining minutes of this game, because there's not enough time left now. The lead stretched to 12 points. And Whitehaven, once they'd got the 8-point lead, really just happy to kick Halifax back into their own quarter of the field to run the ball away. Halifax have made a couple of costly errors, but only in an attempt to break down the Whitehaven line. And John Duffy, successful, 26 points to 12.
Today's official attendance, 2247. 2,247.
And Brambani back on to put in the short kick, which is gathered by Maidens, Byron Smith, Joel Penny off the field. Liaffa trundling the ball up the middle into Whittaker and Clough. Aaron Smith comes across, that must be an obstruction, surely. Ian Smith says play on. Mattinson throws the ball out wide to LeBon, and LeBon is brought down by Haley. Mattinson to Liaffa, Fatih Alofa. Well, Whitehaven have only won twice in recent memories in Halifax, and they're going to make it a hat-trick of wins this afternoon. Duffy misses the target with the attempted drop goal. But once again, Halifax invited to run the ball away from their own 20, something they've been struggling to do on several occasions. Whitehaven just happy to soak up anything Halifax can throw at them. And to be fair, it hasn't been much in this second half. Brambani can't get away from Duffy. Clough goes for the yards from acting half, gets the ball away. It's picked up by Brambani. Brambani has support from Kirk, but puts the ball down. And that really the story of the afternoon for Halifax. Too many errors. There was no pressure on Brambani. The ball squeezing out as he was running forward. Broadbent dropping out to that right hand side, and Brambani making the tackle. Aaron Smith charges up the middle. Liaffa taking a short pass, forcing his way over halfway. Duffy, quick hands, and Leroy Joe managing to keep hold of it. Haley making the tackle. Mattinson back to Duffy. Duffy to Howard Hill. Hill brought down by Clough. Tried to hang on long enough till the support got there. Duffy gets the kick away, and Marcus George will let that one go dead. Well, Halifax are going to get the restart very quickly, but I'm afraid it's too late now at 26 points to 12. And with Widnes away next season, it could spell the end of Halifax's hopes of being in the playoffs. Damien Ball puts the kick in for Haley for chase, but it comes off a Whitehaven player and gives Halifax 6 more tackles as Whittaker sets off down the middle, but he's quickly closed down by the Whitehaven defence. Kirk taking a short pass off Clough and a big hit from Jackson. Clough to Lawford. Lawford to Brambane, who steps past two. Has found the gaps, but he's got no support, and he'll take the tackle on the 10-metre line. And almost losing it again there in the attempt to get up and play up. Lawford to Bolts, and Bolts gets it away to John Clough, and finally Halifax score, but it's too late in the match now. John Clough on the end of a move which almost broke down as Brambane looked as though he was going to lose the ball, but Jason Bolts hanging around again. It's a good support play which has been really great over this season. Short of the line, managed to get it away for Clough. Haley with a conversion. Halifax 16, Whitehaven 26. The result going the way of form. And no more action to come in this match as Whitehaven manage a win at the Shea, only the third for a long time. But the 8-point gap made all the difference, even though Marcus George set Halifax on the right road after a great break from Kirk. Not enough. Brambane's conversion. Whitehaven posted 3 tries and 2 conversions through Jackson, Maiden, Elbeck. 2 conversions from Duffet. All Halifax had to offer was a last took to the ball try from Clough. The conversion from Haley. Final score Halifax 16, Whitehaven 26.